Guys,
Yeah, 100%.
thank you so much for taking the time to do
Hey,
this.
that's
It was
right.
an absolute pleasure, particularly when you are in this wonderful, busy little period of time. So first things first, and we'll start with you, Angus. How are you doing at
Yeah.
the moment?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. Super excited. We can't actually believe it's actual coming out. It's all, it's been such a good long work in progress, getting everything together. And yeah, it's been really good. I'm really excited. And yeah, it's cool, mate. Really good.
Glad to hear it. That's all we want to hear. That everything's good. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty surreal just to think that the EP's even coming out, to be honest, because it's been in the works for best part of like 2 years. So it is really, yeah, it's just a surreal moment for us as a band to be able to get this out to everybody.
We'll stick into that then, and starting with you on this one, Matt. So, considering the length of time and the long build that involves releasing anything these days, where is your head at with the release of this new EP, which we will say the title at every scream became a whisper in the dark, December 7th out then. Where's your head at with it? Are you at the point of oversaturation, kind of getting sick of it, just want to get out into the world, or still loving what you're hearing?
I still love it personally, just because. So with writing, I'm very meticulous with things, and only if if it stands the test of time, I think, okay, yeah, I'll sit with that and I'll be okay with it. So I still love it. Obviously I've heard it thousands of times now, so it does get a little bit. Oh, I'll skip this song on practice or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just at this point, it's you've got such a business mindset towards it, where you're more so out like, how can we release this in the way that we want to, and how can we get as many people to listen to it as possible and as much feedback as possible for the future, I suppose, as well.
Well, you, Angus, then where's your head?
Well, yeah, I'm still absolutely loving us. Yeah, we just announced today we've got a new single coming out at the end of the week on the 30th, and yeah, we've only had good feedback from all of the songs so far, which is brilliant, and just shows the amount of time we've taken to get this all together, work together as a band, and yeah, it's all good. I'm really happy.
It's fantastic to hear that you are still in love with the music, because of course, it'd be easy to kind of get sick of it and want it out. So it's great to hear that, because it is a stellar release. It's going to crack some skulls if it hasn't already, because of the single so far. Talking about, going back to something you said there, Matt, planning this release, obviously how music is digested and sent out into the world is very, very different these days, but it can also be an incredible amount of work. So talk me through kind of what your plan has been to get this out there and into as many ears as possible.
So mainly, especially with like the advertisement and everything, we spent a long time looking through different PR agents. Obviously, Jordan, who is someone we ended up really connecting with, and just spent a lot of time trying to make sure that we had like the right team around us in order to achieve that. And yeah, it worked out really well for us in the end. So Jordan's been incredible, full stride PR. And then I think also the fact that we were going into it with a very different mindset, thinking how we could release something, because obviously majority of music is released on a Friday, so we're thinking, oh, maybe we could release something on a Thursday instead. Just give it, there's less music released on a Thursday, so have more attention gravitate towards it. Have a shorter time where we're advertising the song, so it's like the week of we'll announce and then drop it 2-3 days later. So yeah, we've just trial and error, I suppose, throughout the release. That's really been it, because we've had, well, including this one that we've announced today, 4 singles, and we've been able to just see what works the best each time.
What have you learned over these this period of time, and as you say, trial and error, and making your way through the complications of social media and stuff like that? What do you reckon you've learned?
I think because we obviously saying about it taking like 2 years, we had everything ready before we started the first single cycle. So every music video was filmed, absolutely everything has been done months before we started releasing, which took a lot of pressure off at the time. And I think it would have been a very, very stressful situation if we hadn't had everything ready. But that's probably something that we'll hopefully stick to, and not necessarily have everything ready, but if there's a long enough time distance between like releases, we'll try and just keep a like tight schedule, I suppose, which is what we've done here, and it's worked really well for us. Stressful, but it works.
It's interesting because, as you say, spending that amount of time, you can remove a lot of stresses, but there are always going to be new and fresh ones. And ultimately, you know, we got to get to the point where it's actually out as well, and then see how it's standing on its own two feet, which is, you know, and even then, 6 months further down the line, then maybe you'll be able to reflect and see kind of how you feel it, how you feel it's done, and how it's been received, and so on. It's a long journey.
Yeah.
It's been a super long journey.
Okay, guys, take me back to the origins of this release. Now, we got to go back to a certain degree, as you said, 2+ years. Now, basically, I kind of want to gauge what your plan was at the time. Did you have a kind of vision of what you wanted to do? E.g., was it always going to be an EP? Was it planned to be something bigger, and so on?
So it's probably in COVID. So back then, all of us in the band were all at uni together. And COVID happened as we were in uni, as we were ready to release an older EP, and just everything sort of got put at a halt. Went through member changes. We were just like, let's just get this EP out and just focus on new stuff straight away. So we were sort of forced to write within, like, because we were very band in a room before, so we had a very raw sound, and we had to sort of transfer to digital pretty quickly as well due to COVID and distance. Like, some of us are in Essex, and I'm like at the very bottom of the country, so we're all over the place. But yeah, I think the whole idea, I think initially we did want to do an album, but we also had such a different sound now than what we did before. So we were very much like, okay, let's maybe do an EP, treat it as if it is an album on the release, and really just try and get this new sound out and just get into the world again after COVID.
So, I mean, you brought it up now. Obviously, COVID had this, you know, negative effects on what you were capable or what you were able to do, but ultimately positives found in it as we are at this stage. You have got through it, and you do have this release. What was the drive to carry on? Because COVID could have killed you off, basically, by the sound of it.
Yeah, there was a few times where I think we got to a point where we hadn't spoken in about 2 months, the whole band, and nothing had happened, and everyone was like, "Are we doing anything?" We all just sat at home doing nothing. So we were all just a bit like, okay, maybe we should just sort of do or die mentality at that point. It was like, let's just give this our all. Let's just go absolutely in and invest what we can to make something of it. So that's where it really sort of sparked. Just, you know, if this is something we really want to do, let's just give it everything to it and see if we can do it.
Was that your feeling during this period as well, Angus?
Yeah, well, it was after COVID when I joined Break 50. So I joined probably a year ago, probably last November, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, around then I joined, and yeah, I was in previous bands as well, and the same thing happened to me with COVID and everything. And it's just, you know, life moves on for some people, and you know, we want to keep doing what we love and enjoy, which is playing shows and writing music together. So yeah.
We'll have to follow that up then with what was the appeal? What made you think, yeah, I want to be part of Break 50. I want to do something here.
Well, it was just so heavy, and I absolutely loved it. The boys were looking for a vocalist, and yeah, I messaged Matt because we played a gig together, supporting Heart of a Coward when we were both in separate bands, and I checked the boys' set and I absolutely loved it. And yeah, and then after COVID, 2 years later, I saw they were looking for a vocalist, and I just jumped at it. You know, I wanted to start playing something more heavier. and something I can move to. So yeah, I think they made a good choice.
And it was an easy sort of transition. It was an easy thing to kind of just get into the groove with, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You know, well, I think we got so much more to give as well, because we've only, we've been a band for, all of us together for a bit over a year now. And once we can all get in the studio together, I think we can make even better music as well. So
It almost feels like a restart, a rebirth, effectively. And
yeah,
this is now where we're going.
Yeah,
definitely.
100%.
So what stage did the sort of EP start to come together? At what point did you kind of realize, look, we've got something here. We have X amount of tracks and this could be it?
So initially, back in 2021, we'd gone up to Stoke and we'd hired a studio out for like 2 weeks. And we were just like, let's just go in, let's just write as many tracks as we can and see where we get to. So it was us, the band then, and our producer Ryan as well. And we wrote as much as we could for that 2 weeks, got very burnt out very quickly, sleeping on the studio floor. It was pretty mental. But so I think parts of songs that are on the actual EP now are still from that session, and A Familiar Face was written there as well. Parts of songs were written there, but a lot of it was really just sort of done after that, just through Discord and other platforms, and then slowly sort of manifested into this sort of just the EP itself. And then we were sitting on the instrumentals for it after a while, and then when Angus came in and we finished up writing and put all the vocals towards everything, it really started to just feel more alive as opposed to it. Because listening to instrumentals for 2 years, you get very used to that. It's like, let's just release it as an instrumental EP. But I think, I think the moment we really felt like we actually had like a full fleshed piece of material was when we got the vocals on, and when that's pretty much it. I think mainly.
That must have been so both incredibly exciting and disconcerting at the same time when those vocals, hearing those instrumentals for so many years and so long, so many times, and then boom, now you're hearing it with vocals.
Yeah.
Can you remember what you felt?
I think so when Angus initially joined, we had sent him A Familiar Face, the instrumental for it. I think it was the next day. He had just put a demo. He just demoed vocals over the top of it. I think a lot of those like what you did in the demo is still in the actual track today, like lyric wise, because we're just like, this works so well. And the songs just completely changed. They weren't the same songs, and they were just upgraded. It was just a level up in the music for us, and it was just something that was missing, like, for all those years, which was it was just like the final piece of the puzzle. It was really cool.
Talk to me then about positive reaction so far. Obviously, videos are out there, songs are out there, and people have been hearing them for a little while now. And I had a good old nose around, real dig, just even to see if I could find maybe 1 or 2 negative comments. Doesn't really seem to exist. Have you noticed that as well? And the overall just general love for what you put out so far?
I think we have one.
Oh yeah, you go, Matt. You go, Matt.
You found one?
We had one.
Oh!
We had one. As soon as we released the first single, one guy was like, I prefer the old stuff. So we were like, okay. We're like, well, cheers, mate. Not sticking about then. But other than that, people will voice their opinions everywhere. So it is what it is. But yeah, no, we've really haven't, as a band, haven't had this sort of positive reaction ever. Like when we played a show recently in Liverpool, and like everybody was so positive about the band itself, and it was like, we're getting really good responses from this. Not had that before. So it's just refreshing, I think, is the best way to put it.
It does feel like there's an upward trajectory with you guys at the moment. And I mean, this EP, I mean, there are many words I could use to describe it. You know, one that jumps to mind immediately is chaotic. It is intense, and it is quite something in itself for that. And I think that's going to blow. It's been a good year for heavy, fast, and intense music. But even here, right at the very end of it, you guys are dropping this. So talk to me about this level of intensity. How natural does that come for you?
I think with the writing style, you write with like when you listen back and you think how much energy does that give, that's one of the key factors really with the music. For example, with A Familiar Face Again, we used the shepherd tone in just throughout a lot of it, and it was just building almost anxiety throughout, which gave it that really chaotic vibe. And it just gives, it's just about the energy that I think is the best way to put it, and just like a feeling that we just thrive off of it.
Yeah. Well, when you sent me that demo, it had that on the demo, and it just blew me away. I was just like, I need to put some vocals over this. I need to just scream my head off and go absolutely crazy. And yeah.
Did it come to you quite quickly, Angus? You say you knew you needed to scream your head off.
Yeah, just immediately as soon as I heard that song. You know, like Matt said, I went and tracked vocals the next day. drove straight down to my mate's studio in Portsmouth. And me and him just went straight in there, and I was like, I've got to do these tracks. So it was it was really good fun.
For all the intensity, for all the heaviness, for all the chaos. Of course, obviously, you know, you're tackling some deep subjects here, childhood trauma and so on. And while I don't want to dig into that aspect of things, what I do want to ask you is kind of what your perspective might be on what this record could potentially, or hopefully, do for others that not necessarily maybe have gone through the same things, but might have their own situations that they connect with.
I would say it's just more expressive in a sense, and not being tied down to not being able to express those things, as you know, they're common throughout day-to-day life. People don't really think about that kind of thing. But I mean, in regards to the way we've sort of done it, it is just sort of put a bunch of these emotions into one, and then just completely, the best way I guess is in terms of a message. Sorry, I'm brain fogging. I think the best way.
Yeah, well, it's like, well, the whole EP. So the whole thing's like a stage. So from the first song, it's like and when we're younger sort of thing, and beginning acceptance to as we're getting older. Like we're in Second Skin, because I'm talking about the serpent, the demon that's still there. Every scream became a whisper in the dark. So every scream back then is now a whisper to me, and now I'm older. And it's just sort of growing acceptance and being able to push through those parts in your life. So that was the without going too much into it, for all of us, it was just sort of a collection of different traumas that we've decided to put in this EP. I
do urge folks to not just listen to the music but to read the lyrics and dig a little bit deeper. And certainly on multiple listens, really start to unpick and peel away those layers. Because
the lyrics do go so deep on some parts of the songs. And you know, everyone has their own what's I can't even remember now. You know, the whole EP is just a journey, really, exploration of oneself, going through from torment and everything like that. So
we sort of the way we did it was we kind of put it as like a story. So we collected all of this information. We all just sort of spoke, and then
Mm.
we were like, okay, let's just put this into chapters, and each chapter being a song, and then what would sort of, not in a sense like turn it into obviously not. Sorry, my desk moves. Just turn it in so you've got like sort of start, experience into repercussion, grief, guilt, and just sort of that's how it kind of embellished and became itself. Yeah, that's pretty
Real life. It's real life stuff, and if you weren't doing it in an authentic way, it would be incredibly noticeable. It is noticeable when bands do that. So congratulations on not just expressing that, but doing it in a way that I think the majority of people, once they really kind of dig into it, will find and be able to relate to it in some way or another, whatever it might be.
Yeah, it is broad, because that was the way we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Mason, talk to me about featuring Ben Mason on Dreamland. How did that come together?
He's a good friend, good friend of mine. Well, and the boys as well now. He came along when we shot our music videos. Yeah, absolute top boy. Yeah. He as soon as I asked him, he just said yes straight away. And yeah, he absolutely smashed it. He always smashes it. He's a phenomenal vocalist.
He is. He's unreal.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
Yeah, when I saw his name, Bound in Fear, Pint Glass, was like, yep, okay, this is a good choice. I felt like it was going to fit as well.
we needed to get him on. We needed to, because he's doing so well at the moment with Bound in Fear and Pint Glass as well. So yeah.
Do you have a personal favorite track from the EP? If so, what is it and why? Start with you, Angus.
Whoa. I think my favorite track is Second Skin, because I love the drums, love the groove in it, and it sums up the whole EP at the end as well. I really love the way how we managed to portray that at the end of the EP, and yeah, oh, so hard to choose from though. It's so hard to choose from.
I'm sure if I asked you in a month, you'd have another choice.
Yeah, wait until we play a few more live shows, and then I'll tell you.
All right. What about you, Matt? You got a different one?
I'd probably have to say a Red Glow is one of my favorites. I do love Second Skin, and I think in terms of the sound of the band, that's probably the key sort of sound of Break 50 at the minute, at least. But a Red Glow is just quick, it's fun, it's heavy, it's horrible to play live, but it's just, in terms of like actual listening, I'd say it's probably definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, I do not envy you playing bass on that song, mate.
It's not fun.
So as we stand, it's the end of November 2023. As far as Break 50 goes, and we're talking about the overall package now, all of you as a group, how would you define your growth? So since those rawer days to where you sit and stand now at the end of 2023, how would you define your growth?
Oh, well, you had probably, I mean, during that time from our last ever show we had played, released that EP, and then just sort of went hiatus without saying a word, just completely disappeared, to then re-emerging earlier this year. And I think it was almost, it wasn't like we picked off where we left off. It was more momentum throughout the rest of the year. So I think when to be like early July, from that point on, it was just momentum all the way up until this point. And then which is what we tried to do. So obviously single after single, keeping it sort of the time short between each one, and having like merch and everything ready in between, like all of this content ready to go, just to keep it going constantly, just fueling that fire. So I think that's been the biggest thing for us, is just been keeping up the momentum and sort of carrying that over to next year as well. That's the important part.
What about you, Angus? Got anything to add there?
Yeah. I just with our momentum of the band, like obviously you've seen, all we've had is good comments so far. So I guess it can only really get better from here. As soon as this EP comes out, you know, we can hopefully start. Well, we've got a few shows lined up next year. We're trying to get this EP release show, but we're not sure what's going on with that at the moment. We're just wait until it all comes together. But fingers crossed, next year get on a few more shows and just try and push Break 50 to everywhere really. So that's our plan for next year, momentum wise.
All right, there's a couple of things there I'm going to pick up on. Right, I mean, momentum, you're right, it's so damn important, and I expect you to continue that, as you say, into next year. But what's going on with this EP show? You both kind of laughed there.
We can't say anything yet.
We're planning something for it.
Yeah.
That's probably about as much as we can really say.
Say no more. I'll say it for you, which is basically keep an eye on your socials and going forward and all the usual places. And when it is ready to, whatever it might be, you'll let us know.
Yeah, we sure will.
So heading into 2024, of course, we're looking towards the future here. You talk about having a couple of shows. What other plans do you roughly have in place? Do you have much in the way of what you kind of want to achieve in 2024?
So as of current, we have been writing and just gearing up for whatever the future holds. Main plan is, at least the start of the year, is just really focus on this music. We have a couple other things that will be coming out, which will be really sick, just to sort of not to stay away from the EP, but like just other stuff that comes out which complements it, which would be really fun. I think we're sort of at the minute in the stage where like let's just write as much music as we can. Whatever we do with it, let's work with it. So that's sort of the mindset at the minute, is just let's just keep going and just get as many shows as we can and just really just push the band. That's the main thing at the minute.
Have you thought about, are you looking towards festival season next year? Is any possibilities there?
Potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
Nothing.
Oh, mate.
Well, we've got Southwest Heavy Fest.
Yeah, Southwest
right?
Heavy Fest is the one up in Bridgewater, which we'll be playing. So that's all set in stone, confirmed. Really looking forward to that. Really good cause as well. So we're really excited to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, I think you guys can fit pretty much on any of the major or even the smaller sort of localized festivals as well, and absolutely kill it. I expect to see you out and about just about everywhere next year.
Yeah, we'd love to be everywhere. We'll try our best to be.
But that is next year. And before we even get to that stage, December 7th, it is the most important date right now. Every Scream Became a Whisper in the Dark is releasing December 7th, the Thursday, folks. Remember that from the start. And it is a phenomenal EP. So everyone better check that out. Guys, before you leave, we got one more section, which is Ozzy Osbourne. And in his head are randomized cards of the anything and everything. Not just selected by me, but also submitted by other bands and artists that we've interviewed over the years. So we'll be pulling stuff out at random and taking in turns and giving answers, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Okay, so, and it is random. So I'm going to start with you, Angus, then, with number 10. What is your earliest memory of playing a video game?
Ooh, probably playing probably Mario Kart with my older brothers on N64. That's probably everyone loves Mario Kart. Come on, it's a great game. It's fantastic.
I'm a big fan of this one because it often shows ages. It starts to show up people's ages. And you said Mario Kart, and I'm thinking, how far back is he going? Because
yeah, N64. Well,
There
they
it
had a
is.
SNES as well, but I can't really remember the games on there. So
How about you, Matt?
It would be Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex. I think it was Wrath of Cortex, and that was on the PlayStation 1. I think it was about 6. That's my earliest sort of memory of starting gaming, at least.
Fair enough. All right, back to you then, Angus. Number 78. Do you think aliens have ever come to Earth?
ooh, I was literally watching one of the documentaries the other day. I love all of that stuff. Like I just end up watching it. I don't know. I'm gonna say yes. I think they have. I think some people have seen them. They're hiding something from us, definitely.
How about you, Matt? Where do you sit in this one?
I think there's more of a possibility that there is than there isn't. Whether they've come to Earth or not, I think. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff in the news. Well, sort of last couple of months, and obviously, David, mate, can't remember his name. Obviously, came out and said, well, he'd released all the information. So, I mean,
yeah,
I'm open to the idea.
All right, then let's move on to number 94. Angus, what is the best horror movie ever made?
Ooh,
big one.
that is a big one. It's more like a thriller. But I'll say Shining.
As in the Jack Nicholson one, yeah?
Yes, yeah, that one.
Okay. Matt?
It's too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's too many.
Obviously, like, barring cult classics for their value of, like, you know, for things like The Exorcist and that, barring that kind of thing, I'd say something that like properly spooked me. And I've watched a lot of horror films that don't really, you know, there's a lot of dribble out there. I think there's a film called Caveat, which came out a few years ago. That freaked me out. That was terrifying. So I'd probably have to put that up there. Definitely, if I was to recommend a horror film at all, Caveat.
Caveat? I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Oh, it's freaky.
Have you seen that? Angus?
No, I haven't, but I can tell Matt's still got chills talking about it. While looking at him.
Yeah, it's very, very creepy.
All right, Angus, how do you like your steak done?
Oh, medium rare.
Oh, okay,
medium rare for me. Peppercorn sauce every time. Yeah.
I've not had any good experiences with steak. But it twice, and I just haven't been a fan. So it's just picky eater.
If you were to have it now, if you had it was your meal now, how would you have it? What would your choice be? The chef says, "Hey, how do you want it cooked?"
Probably say medium.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'd probably say medium. Yeah.
It's such an argumentative thing. Weirdly, that one I don't fully understand. We've got a few others in there that seem to cause the biggest debate when it comes to food. Pizza toppings, I'm sure you can imagine. Yeah. All right, guys. Back to you, Angus. What's the best thing about being in Break 50?
What's the best thing? No, we've got this EP coming out, and we've got a lot happening. So I think I'm gonna have to go for that. The future.
Love it. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. I think just the you know, I think as kids, everybody just wants to be in a band, and like actually being able to do that is so much different than the thought of it. So I think actually just being able to sort of live out what you always wanted to do is the main thing for me. As being a band isn't fun, but it's like when you're actually up there playing and expressing the music you've made, that's, I think, the most rewarding thing. And yeah, I think that's the best part of it would be playing shows. getting good feedback and stuff, and just yeah, I think. And obviously the EP's coming out on the 7th of December. That's really
Well, there's one thing I've learned from speaking to you both over this last half an hour is that not only does this feel like the rebirth, and that you clearly are so energized, I think it's the word I'm looking for here, energized as to not just get this EP out, but also what comes next, which is incredibly heartening from my perspective. It's incredibly encouraging to see you have all this momentum behind you and clearly feel it. It is Every Scream Became a Whisper in the Dark, December 7th. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Best of luck with the release.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website, where reviews, news, and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.